Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last class, we studied about the testing of various, uh, testing, development, all these pre-production stages we looked at. Next, we will look at ergonomics. Next topic is ergonomics. So what is basically ergonomics? It is the study of the effects of work system on workers, and it aims at fitting the work to the men to increase their efficiency, comfort, and satisfaction. So that is what is basically known as ergonomics. So human comfort. Okay, human factors are present in an industry. So wherever in an industry we are using men or human for doing the work, ergonomics come into action. So we have to study what are the conditions that is required for the worker and whatever comforts has to be given to the worker to perform various functions. Okay, so this can increase their efficiency and thereby we can get maximum output from them to produce the particular product or to produce the product at a particular deadline. So for those purpose, an ergonomic study is done to improve the conditions of work. So you can see various conditions here. There will be a standing condition, a sitting condition, or a fully office jobs. Okay, so each and everything is part of a industry. So there will be an office job and it deals with the ergonomics of office people, while this will be for both office and in the field work, and then in the production center itself. So that will be, there will be no sitting but only standing jobs, and they will be operating the machines. So this all comes under ergonomics. So such a situation or such a thing we are giving is under ergonomics, and in some countries it is also known as human engineering or human factors engineering. So that is what is known as ergonomics. So they will analyze whether the job and work stations are unsafe or how the qualities are measured, and if there is an injury occurring from the heavy machinery, if there is any first aid methods that can be given for the specific worker or the labor, etc., or these all come under ergonomics. So it is concerned with the designing and the improving of the workplace or the workstation, tools, equipment, job design, psychological environment, and procedures of work in order to limit the fatigue, discomfort, and injuries while efficiently achieving personal and organizational goals. So they improve the design of workplace, workstation, the tools that has to be used, the equipment, job and design, then psychological environment, so a peaceful atmosphere or etc. is given, then this will limit their fatigue or their discomfort, or fatigue is nothing but the tiredness that they occur due to continuous working, and then their discomfort, then the injuries. So you can limit the injuries, etc., based on this ergonomic study. So for heavy purposes and all, we are providing in an industry fire extinguishers, or we are providing water through fire pipes, okay, etc., are implemented so as to make the worker confident or make him confident of the work he has to do, and not to worry about the safety. And for that purposes and all, ergonomics is done. Then ergonomics also studies about the wages the various people has to earn, and the wages according to their job, and the various funds for their that are included in their salaries, etc., are coming also under ergonomics. So various disciplines have influence in the human factors, and these are the disciplines. One is engineering. So in engineering side, we design a work system that is suitable for the worker. Okay, we are designing a work system that is suitable for the worker, reducing their stress and making it so we know that a worker can use about 8 hours of working time a day or 10 hours. That is the maximum working time of a labor in an industry, and then for the next shift another personnel comes. So that is how in an engineering field of design the work is designed for the worker. Then in a physiology, so we are studying about the man, the person itself and his working environment. So for a labor that is doing a production job, he has to be present at the conveyor belt, or he must be present at the system and control the conveyor belt or the products that are being transported from one area to another. But for the condition of a higher post people, for a supervisor or suppose a CEO, etc., they are doing office jobs, or a supervisor comes into the field and does both the office job and the production control jobs. And they have a specific environment. Okay, they will be given an office and that is their environment, and so that they can do specific works. So that is the study of physiology in the case of human factor engineering. Then comes anatomy. So it is the study of body dimension and relations for work design. So we are studying about the quantity of work or what kind of work he is doing and etc. These all comes under the anatomy principle or the anatomy discipline of human factor engineering. Then comes psychology, study of the adaptive behavior and skills of people. So various people will be skilled at a specific job while the others might not be, and we'll be giving trainings for those personnel so as to obtain that particular skill in that particular department. Also, we are studying the behavior of people according to the job done or according to his working hours. If he's in a foul mood or if he's in a good mood, and if he's not, then we have to give particular leaves, or we have to sanction various uh, leaves etc uh, for improving the production capability of the worker, and that is coming under psychology. Then comes industrial hygiene. So a person or a worker should not worry about the safety of the job he is doing. So for that, various safety occupational hazardous uh, materials are present inside an industry, and to reduce the hazards that has to be caused, or to increase the safety, we are implementing various safety features inside the industry, and that study is coming under industrial hygiene. Okay, so these are the various disciplines of human factors. Then what are the principles of good product design? So for designing a good product, various principles are present. So there are 6 types of principles. One is customer requirements, next is the functional aspects, next operational aspects, then comes reliability, manufacturability, and then last aesthetic aspect. So these are all the aspects, and we are going to discuss in this in detail. First is customer requirements. Consumer or customer requirements. Based on the customer, we are designing a product, and based on the consumer or the customer itself, we are implementing various functions to the product. So customer requirements are the first and foremost principle of a product design, for a good product design. So we'll take feedbacks of various customers, or we'll be implementing a prototype and giving it to the consumer. And once he or she obtains the product, they will use it for a particular period of time and find out various faults and defects in the product, and gives a feedback to the company itself by through a feedback personnel like this, or by by means of a mail, or email, or a letter, etc. So they will be giving a feedback, and based on this feedback, we will be implementing certain measures for improving the design of the product. So first and foremost, it is customer requirement. Next is the functional aspects. So various functions may be stated by the customer or the consumer, and every function cannot be incorporated into a single object, but majority of two or three, or even a little more, can be implemented in a certain object so as to obtain the certain function. So you know that we use nowadays calculators. Okay, calculators perform many functions, right? It performs addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and then if you come to scientific calculators, it can even perform angles, tan theta, sin theta, etc., matrices, differentials, etc. Okay, so the functions are increasing according to the product. So a basic calculator can do the uh, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and it is limited to that. But when you are improving the calculator itself, you can get different functions of it. So each and every functions are based on the design, and this is implemented in the design, and this also comes under good product design. So if it does a lot of functions, the consumer will be able to obtain the certain device for that certain purposes. So scientific calculators are used in the field of engineering. Okay, so an engineer uses a scientific calculator, while a businessman does not need a scientific calculator. He just has to know the tally of various sums. Okay, so he just has to use a normal calculator, and for that purpose, he has such a calculator. So for each functions, various people or various customers are there, and functional aspects is one of the principle of good product design. Next is the operational aspect. So once the product is produced and it is mass produced to a certain consumer or many consumers, they use the particular device for a particular period of time. So that comes under operational aspect. So it has to operate, and it must operate satisfactorily so that the customer can um, use it for a set long period of time and obtain the certain function. Okay, it may be tools, or it may be used for a longer period of time. Okay, or for a shorter period of time, these possible items. So it depends upon the product, and it must perform that operational aspect so as to get a good product design. So if it is not doing such a work or such a function for that period of time, then it is a defective product, and we have to improve the design to for the product to perform the operation for that particular period of time. That comes under operational aspects. Next comes the reliability. So it is also meaning as the dependability of a product. Dependability on a product. So consumers has to trust the product they have to use. Okay. So if a engineer is using a smaller calculator, he can't do any engineering function. So the reliability of that calculator for a particular engineer is less, or that calculator is not reliable for a engineer. So he has to opt for a scientific calculator. So that is what is known as reliability. So reliability means dependability of the product, how much the consumer can depend on a certain product. And if he is satisfied with that product, he is completely reliable on that product, and the product will be the product's life will be increased. Okay, we'll be discussing about product life cycle later. Okay, that is reliability. Next comes manufacturability. So what is manufacturability? So it must be designed in such a way, the product must be designed in such a way that It can be produced in large quantities with ease at minimum production cost. So we'll be first producing a product. We'll be developing it, designing it, prototyping it, testing it, and then we'll be producing a finished product. So during each stages, we are observing what all steps are necessary for its uh, creation, and then we are obtaining while testing, we are obtaining various design improvements and incorporating that improvements into the design. We are also studying how we can implement or how we can reduce the cost in each and every operation, and how you can create the product at the most minimum cost. So there will be a cost, and we have to find out the least production cost it has to take to manufacture that object. So the purpose of obtaining that is nothing but profit. So if it is produced at the least production cost and sold at a particular price, the company can earn particular profit under manufacturability discipline. So that is why it is also a good for a good product design. It is also a principle. So we have to design the product in such a way that it must cost only less, and we have to produce it in large quantities. So that is coming under manufacturally. And last is the aesthetic aspect. So why this is last? So aesthetic aspect is nothing but the look of the product. Okay, the stylish way it has been created. So you can see in this figure itself, there are various shapes for that object, and various colors are provided. This is a soap, and various colors are provided. And in that soap, if you are adding various fragments, and that is also another aesthetic aspect. And based on that style, a consumer is attracted to that particular product. Okay, they will be attracted to it. So we can buy this shape, or we can buy this shape, or we can buy this color, and it has a good smell, so we will buy this one. So this is all coming under aesthetic aspect. So we are actually fooling the consumer into buying the product based on its quality, the size, the shape, the color, the fragrance, etc. Okay, and for that aesthetic aspect, we will implement advertisements, posters, etc. Okay, we'll be advertising to media, or through outlets such as newspapers, magazines, etc. And these all are coming under aesthetic aspect. So we are implementing a system for consumers to be attracted by the product and then buy it. So this comes under aesthetic aspect. Next is quality control. So what is quality control? We have discussed it earlier. What is quality? Quality is nothing but as it is the fitness for a purpose. So we are designing a product to perform a particular purpose or multiple purpose. And when these purposes are utilized, if it is fit for that operation for or fit for multiple operation, then we will say that the product quality is higher. If it does not do that, we will determine the product quality as low. Okay, so that is coming under quality control. A quality product will give customer satisfaction. So customer will be spending a certain amount of um money for the particular product, and if he is spending for money for that product, he expects the product to perform a certain operation for the particular period of time based on the cost he has given. Okay, based on the cost he expects. So if it is a low cost material, it has only sufficient quality, but if it is a high cost material, the quality will be much greater. So he expects the product to have that quality based on the cost. So that is why quality control is maintained, so as the consumer can obtain quality products. Okay, also a quality product will improve company's profit. So if it is not a failing under any pressure, and the quality is much greater, the consumer always prefers a qualified material. And if they prefer that material from that company itself, that company will be on the rise, or it will be producing much of the products, and the consumer may obtain the product from that certain brand or from that certain company, thereby increasing the profits earned by the company. So these all comes under quality control. So next is, what are the factors affecting quality? One of the factors is market. Okay, one of the factors is market. What is coming under market? Sale of a product depends, among the other things, upon the type of customers and the prices they are willing to pay. So for rich people, the for higher quality material, for rich people, they can spend much fortune for various products. So, some products will be present at huge markets or huge places, and these can be owned by rich people. But for a moderate people, okay, for a moderate people, they can only pay for sufficient quality. So a second quality material or a third quality material can be given for an average person. So sale of a product depends upon the type of the customer and the prices they are willing to pay. So these are the factors coming under market. Then under men with the knowledge and skill are needed for making a quality product. For making a product in sufficient quality, the skill of the worker must be greater. So if there is an unskilled person doing as a work and producing a product, that product will not have the sufficient quality we are looking for. So a skilled worker can produce a qualified product. Okay, it can produce a quality product. So men is another factor affecting quality. Then comes money. Quality cost money. Okay, that is one of the universal truth. So for much quality material, we have to spend more money to obtain quality material. Okay, and while manufacturing also, this is true. We have to expend much cash into quality products than that of lesser quality products. Okay, so money also affects quality. Next, management. So management sets the company's quality policy to provide men materials and money to implement the policy. So under a certain management or the guidance of the management, the management determines what type of quality a product has to be manufactured and then supplied to the market. So it determines the so under management also the quality becomes a factor. Then under materials, choice of materials have a great impact of the quality of product. So a product is basically made up of raw materials. So these raw materials are then further refined to form the final product. And these raw materials on a refining process is much costlier. Okay, for refining a raw material, there are various steps involved, and these steps can be costlier depending upon the raw material used. So if the raw material that is gold that is used, a gold ore, refining of gold ore is a tedious process and also it's an expensive process. And for that purpose, if you are not refining it properly, the product that is formed will have lesser quality. And if you are refining it very efficiently, so you have to spend more money, but the quality of the material produced will be higher. Okay, so jewelries and stuff have to be refined much more greater, or the raw material that is the gold or must be refined much greater than for other purposes such as gold shielding and all. You will use gold for shielding purposes from solar radiations, etc. And for that purpose, sufficient qualities are only required. Okay, but in jewelry and all, gold is used for. So you have heard about the 24 karat, 22 karat, etc. Okay, so according to that carat denotes the quality of the gold. So that is also coming under material. Then Machines, the quality of products depends on the accuracy of the equipment used in manufacturing of product. Okay, there are two products that can be used, sorry, two equipments that can be used for the production of a material. One is called a lathe and another is called a CNC. Okay, so both are equipments that are used to produce or shape the metal into a particular shape. But in a lathe is operated by means of a lever or automatically, but it is a crude form of metal laying out, or a metal forming is done in a crude format by a lathe. But in a CNC, the material, we are inputting only certain codes into the machine, and the machine denotes this code and operates various operation on the material itself with best finish. Okay, so the quality of products produced from the CNC will be much greater than that in the lathe. So that is how the machines play a role in good product design. Then last one is methods. There should be a uniformly and well planned procedure understood by the workers so as to develop a quality product. So this is what is coming under ergonomic study or of the developing of a product study. So they are determining various methods to be used and implementing it into the production cycle so as to produce a good product. So certain methods are they created for producing a good quality product. Then what are the objectives in quality design? So to ensure production of non-defective parts. So when you are producing a product, there can be defects formed. So if you are producing a light bulb, okay, so many light bulbs are produced, and when we are testing each and every one of them, some may not work. This is due to the quality and this is due to the quality in design procedure. So the filament can break during the assembling process, or it may be while testing itself it can break. So this is because of the lesser quality of the products that are being used. Okay, so an objective of quality design is to ensure production of non-defective parts. If we are producing a non-defective part, that much that product is efficient. So you don't have to worry about making another product as replacement for this, and the replacement products can cost much more when comparing with the original product. So we had to pay the price of two products, one for the defective one and another for the non-defective one. So we have to ensure that we are producing non-defective parts itself. Then next objective is to improve the company's profit by making the product more acceptable. So acceptable means the consumer must easily buy the product or the said product every time, and that can only improve the company's profit. So that is another objective of quality design. Next is to reduce the company's cost through reduction of the losses due to defects. So I have already told you there must be non-defective parts, and when non-defective parts are there, losses incur because we are to produce another product as a replacement for the defective one. So we will incur losses, and we have to reduce these losses, or we have to reduce the company's cost by reducing these losses. That is what is another objective of quality design. Then to develop optimum quality at low price. We have to develop an optimum quality at low price. So even if it is a high quality material, for the if you can produce it under the lowest cost possible, then you can incur more profits. So that is also another objective of quality design. Then what are the functions of quality control? The functions are formulation or modification of quality control policy, setting up inspection standards, and setting up inspection points. Okay, First is quality control policy. We are formulation or modification of the quality. So we are taking the beta versions or the feedback obtained from the consumers and implementing these said uh, said defects and improving the design. And that comes under formulation or modification of quality control policy. Then we are inspecting these standards. So there will be an inspection standards. So we know ISO, we are giving ISO certification for each product, and there are certain numbers for the ISO 9001 or 326, and these are given for various quality products, various quality to ensure the quality. Such inspection standards are created. So various companies across the world have standardized certain qualities for or certain ISO quality signatures are given to product based on these standards. So we are inspecting the products for such standards. If it is meeting that standards, then we are giving it that ISO signature. Then selection of inspection gauges and instruments. So we are inspecting the products with the gauges, using gauges and instrument. Then to decide whether to go for 100% inspection or sampling inspection. So there are two types of inspection: 100% inspection and sampling inspection. 100% inspection is nothing but we are checking the body completely for any defects. So it can be based on visual inspection or by X-ray or by thermography, etc. So these are all coming under inspection, and that is 100% inspection. Or we are using sampling inspection. Sampling inspection is nothing but if you have a huge block of iron, for testing that completely or testing the huge chunk of iron will be much difficult than testing a small sample of that iron. So a small sample is picked from the chunk, and then we are looking through this small part for any deformities or any quality issues or any defects. And this is then, if we found a small defect in the small piece itself, we will determine that defect in the whole material itself. So we are only looking at a sample, and then we are deciding if the complete product is good or bad. Then taking and inspecting the samples being manufactured, inspecting it basically by visual method. Then working on finding and eliminating the cause of quality control trouble. So we are inspecting it, we are finding the problem, and then we are eliminating that problem so as to obtain better quality. Then last topic, cost for production design. So there are various cost factors included in product design. We are designing the product, and various costs are incurred into the production cycle, and some of the costs are recurring production cost, non-recurring cost, external product cost, and sales cost. Okay, these are the various costs. We look at each of every one of them. Then recurring production cost, these are costs that are implemented in a company that comes again and again. So one of the examples is that for transportation purpose, okay, we have to transport the product that is finished from the inventory to the market. So these products are always being supplied to the industry. It has to be always supplied. So such a cost is called a recurring production cost. It is unavoidable. We have to always provide cost for that, or the cost for a raw material. Okay, cost for a raw material or cost for a production cycle. These are all a recurring production cost. You can't eliminate this. This will come for every operations of the said product design. So these costs are called recurring costs. Non-recurring costs are costs that does not recur, or they come once upon a time. Okay, they come at one time itself, and it is not frequent. It is infrequent. There will be so some of the non-recurring costs are coming under research, prototyping, tooling, and production lead times. Okay, so these are all coming under non-recurring cost. Next is external product cost. So what is external product cost? External product costs include logistics, packaging, currency exchange, tax, and customs. So these are costs that will come externally, not from the company itself, but from uh, the extra curricular activities. So it comes under logistics, packaging. So packaging of the product and storing it in the inventory, that comes as external product cost. Then comes tax levied upon the product. So these are all external product cost. Then comes sales cost. That is a last cost. What is sales cost? Sales cost comes under sales sales cost comes under the cost that is obtained for while selling the object. We are selling the object to the market, and we are obtaining for so if you take a product during its developmental stage and we are implementing it to the market, so at first the cost or the sales cost will be lower because the customer has to get to know about the product, but he does not he does not have any uh, okay, he has to get to know the product so as to obtain the product again and again, thereby selling the product. Okay, so that is coming under sales cost, and this cost are responsible for earning of profits in the industry. Okay, so that is sales cost. So we'll wind up today's session.